Hi everyone. Today we have a special guest with us, Paul Nichols, CEO of Versent, to talk to us about digital sovereignty. So welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Taya.
Yeah. So Paul, we see that customers, across education, public sector, government, healthcare, they have to meet really stringent sovereignty and security requirements. Now, those requirements, they're continually evolving and changing. And while, digital sovereignty is not necessarily a new concept, it definitely means different things to different people. So what does digital sovereignty mean to you, and how would you define digital sovereignty?
Yeah, I think you said it actually. It's changing a lot, right? So it can be something that's very, very compliance driven in particular regions. So take the EU, for instance, there's very clear requirements around what digital sovereignty means and how you comply to that. In Australia, we're probably a little bit more relaxed in that. Yeah. So it's really thinking about, how do you comply with particular data architectures, where your workloads are, how you architect your infrastructure, how you then look at continual compliance to get that. Because one of the things for sure is those regulations continue to shift depending on how government regulation is going to be applied, and also how business wants to apply policy on their own environment as well.
Why is it becoming increasingly important to organisations?
Well, I think it comes down to, ultimately, if I think about how some of our customers are asking to deploy new workloads like AI, the first step of that is understanding, well, how are you going to train that AI? What data are you going to train it on? So all of that means you need to know where your data is. How does that apply to your business processes? What does it look like from a kind of partner ecosystem? How much of your partners are supplying data that you might want to use in your business transactions and supply chain?
What are some of the key challenges you see that customers face with digital sovereignty or trying to achieve digital sovereignty?
Yeah, I think probably one of the first things is really understanding what the target you're trying to achieve. So understanding what regulatory framework you need to operate within. How does that then apply into things like your architecture of technology platforms? What policies do you apply around that? So I think there's a number of things like that really come from understanding, the position you want to take around where it's stringent regulatory requirements. Well, that's an absolute compliance requirement, but where there's more lax or where there are greater opportunities to drive innovation perhaps versus risk, what policy do you want to apply on that, and how do you ask your business to align with that?
AWS and Versent have been very collaborative and have had a great partnership in the digital sovereignty space, particularly with Versent Telstra being one of our first partners worldwide to achieve the digital competency last year. So that was great to see. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
How do you see the collaboration between Versent and AWS helping to overcome some of the digital sovereignty challenges that our customers face?
Digital sovereignty is one way to help businesses protect themselves from external threats, from cyber attack, etc. So this is a great way to use technology to help protect your business, and then you've got to offset that and balance that with how much innovation do you want to drive in the business. So I think that's the opportunity for us to partner together, is leveraging the strength of the AWS platform, where we know what the sovereignty position of that is, and then using our services, for instance, to support that, to deploy in particular customer industries that might make sense.
How do you see digital sovereignty evolving in the future? What is that impact to various industries?
The evolution for me is a little bit about kind of how you accelerate standard frameworks for particular industries, for instance. So government can define a set of policies, but we can also take a lead from a business perspective and start to set best practice and good practice. And we do it together, actually. AWS and Versent are defining digital sovereignty competency. So that's one way that we are helping businesses evolve and drive faster to take advantage of technology, but still be compliant with digital sovereignty requirements.
And can you share some of the unique offerings that Versent have to help customers be sovereign in their data and be compliant?
Yeah, so certainly a set of services around those assessment capabilities would be one, but then, having standard designs and architectures for cloud environments, whether that's multi-cloud or a single cloud partner like yourselves, That's a really critical component. So taking existing building blocks, making sure they're secure by design, and then being able to deploy that rapidly. So you get the benefit of rapid implementation of technology, but also know you're secure and compliant against obligations. And then that goes into how you assess against that. So it might be IRAP-specific workloads or a continuous compliance solution that would be continually monitoring your whole ecosystem about how you're maintaining compliance to particular standards and regulations.